Hi, I'm John Maxwell Hobbs. I'm one of the architects of the mobile internet. I launched the BBC's first 21st century broadcast facility, and I'm a musician. And that's why I'm here to speak to you today about my music startup, Delic. Music is incredibly important to all of us. Everybody has a favorite song. Take a moment and think of yours. Maybe it's associated with a day that's very special to you. Maybe it's just some time that you felt great and were having fun. Or maybe it takes you to a time that you got together with a lot of friends and got crazy. Music is a deep connection to all of us, and it's very psychological for musicians. To get a sense of how that is, let's think about Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. Now, this is a psychological theory that talks about the various things that have to be fulfilled before we can reach self-actualization. We have to fulfill physiological needs first, like food and water, shelter, move upwards to safety, love and belonging, things like that. And all of those things have to be fulfilled before we can reach the top of the pyramid. Well, musicians flip that on their head and go for self-actualization first. A guitar player will spend money on strings and picks before food, leading to the old joke, what do you call a guitar player who doesn't have a partner? Homeless. And I was lucky enough to have a partner. Now, Hollywood gives us a rose-tinted view of how you make music. It's all lovely sunsets and palm trees and beautiful people, but the reality is more like this. You're doing it in a cluttered room with your dog. And you may say, oh, well, that's just a musician who's starting out. But actually, these are shots of David Byrne of the Talking Heads studio. It doesn't look any different than the picture I just showed you previously. And if you think this is a mess, let me show you this picture of the music business. This is the way it works. This is all of the connections, all of the organizations, people, societies, files, contracts, audio tracks, video tracks, lyric sheets. This is all for one song. This is the complex web that you have to deal with. This is the enemy that we have to vanquish. But the problem is, this enemy has henchmen enabling him. Who are the henchmen, you may say? Well, we've met the enemy and he is us. Musicians are their own worst enemies in this area because they work and they thrive in creative chaos. This is one of the most successful songwriters in history, and this picture was taken at the height of his success. How did Keith manage that crazy web I presented before? Well, he had a record label, he had management, he had PAs, he had lawyers, he had accountants, all doing that for him. Kept him out of the black hole. Well, what is the black hole? The black hole, also called the black box, is where uncollected royalties go to hide. All of the collection societies, the PROs, ASCAP, BMI, PRS, they have black box accounts. These are escrow accounts where they put all of the money that they can't associate with an artist. At any given moment, there's $2.5 billion sitting in that globally. What happens to it? Well, it gets taken out every quarter, about 75% of it, and paid to the people at the top of the charts. So the basic fact is, if your accounting isn't correct, if your metadata isn't correct, you're not just leaving money on the table, you are actively putting your hard-earned money into somebody else's pocket. Why is this happening? Well, the music industry is old. The first record label was started by Thomas Edison 144 years ago, and things have not changed since then. It's ancient infrastructure. So why isn't that changing? Why aren't the incumbents making it more efficient? Well, first off, the people who collect the royalties, the collection societies, they're not for profits. And they're tasked with giving as much money as possible to musicians. So any money that they spend on new technology and new systems, that's money that's not being paid out to their membership. What about record labels? They're swimming in cash. Well, yeah. Let's talk about the example that I gave before with the black box. They've got a vested interest in making sure that that cash keeps coming into them. What about the systems that make music? Cubase, Pro Tools, Logic. Well, they just don't have the expertise. They are incredible experts in recording music, in manipulating audio files, but they're not accountants. They don't manage those sorts of things. And why is this important? Well, independent artists as a single entity are growing. They account for 1/3 of all recorded music revenues today, and they're growing 33% every year. These are self-producing, self-managed, self-releasing artists. In order to deal with that tangled web of chaos, they have to take time away from being creative. They have to take time to be accountants, filling out spreadsheets, their own management, delivering those spreadsheets to the various entities who manage that. It just takes time away from being as creative as possible. They look at this, it's a mess. They don't know how to address it. It is just total chaos. That's where we come in. We know how to deal with this. We turn chaos into creativity. Now, it's an interesting story of the music business over the past 5 years ago. As recently as 2015, music was regarded as a dead man walking. Nobody was going to make money from music. You had to make money from selling t-shirts. Well, that has changed. Last year alone, Hypnosis Music Fund, KKR, along with BMG and Sony, spent $3 billion acquiring music rights. 500,000 of that went to Bruce Springsteen alone. They acquired the rights for the future earnings of all of those artists. Sony spends $90 million a month acquiring future music rights. They believe that music has a future, and so do we. So what we do is we make musicians' lives easier by streamlining creative workflows, capturing rights data, freeing them to focus on creativity and maximize returns. We believe that music has value, and we believe in musicians. That's why we've created our founder member program. If you come on board Delic as a founder member and agree to invite other musicians on board, take parts in surveys and interviews with us to let us know what you need to focus on creativity, we will give you equity in our platform. Equity, and we'll give you a crazy discount on the service. So come on board. All you have to do is pull out your smartphone, scan this code. It'll take you to our website, and you can join us in helping to build music's future. We've got a great team. I've talked about myself, but we're a team of musicians. The platform has been built by musicians for musicians because we have personal experience with the pain involved in creativity. Our chief creative officer, besides being a musician, founded Absolute Events, the largest student event company in the UK. Our chief marketing officer is the founder of the Right Project, which is focused on sustainability in the fashion industry, and she's the former managing director of the Catherine Hamnett label. And our chief technical advisor used to build applications for Oxford University and is a musician and a digital artist. We've got a very great advisory board with deep roots in the music industry, with people from Warner Chappell Publishing, musicians, label creators, music advocates, and our future. This is coming up ahead. We're looking at Web3 and how to use NFTs as a way to release music to fans and use DAOs as a way to create order in this chaos by managing rights collection and distribution of royalties. Delic's your space of sound. We're turning chaos into creativity. Just click on the barcode and join us.